Hi guys, my name is Ian, an English teacher and IELTS tutor from the UK. And today I want to share with you a piece of advice for your IELTS writing task. That advice is keep it simple. And today I want to show you some examples of students' work that explains why this piece of advice is really important and why not keeping it simple can actually drastically lower your score. So today I want to look at an example answer. I want to tell you why it was wrong or how it could be better. And I want to give you some actionable advice so that you can incorporate this into your writing and get a higher score on the IELTS. At the end of the video, I'll give you guys a challenge to write your own introduction, share it with me, and I'll be more than happy to give you some feedback. So let's get started. Okay, so let's take a look at an example question from IELTS Writing Task 2. And that question is here. Some children spend hours every day on their smartphones. Why is this the case? And do you think this is a positive or negative development? Now, we could talk about this question for a long time, about what type of question it is, what structure to follow, how to plan your answer, what information to include. But today I want to focus on this piece of advice, which is keep it simple. So let's take a look at an example introduction from a student. So this is just the introduction, and here it is. So if we read it, it says, as technology improved in making cell phones, young adolescents are obsessed with smartphones, which makes them stay with their phones every day. Nowadays, children have more pressure when engaging with other students in learning. As a result, they will try to find a relief on their phones. Additionally, cell phones are the easiest way to get access to news and anecdotes. So young students like to spend more time surfing the internet. Now, we can see that this introduction is, it's a mess. There's a lot of grammar mistakes. Collocations don't work well together. There's incorrect vocabulary. There's some punctuation mistakes. It hasn't addressed all parts of the question. And it's not quite clear where this essay is going. So sure, there's a lot of mistakes, but the thing I want to focus on is the fact that this student is trying to write at a level that they cannot write at. So this student is trying to impress the examiner with some fancy words and great expressions. So for example, they have said, nowadays children have more pressure when engaging with other students in learning. This word and expression, engaging with other students in learning. So it's quite clear. I think what the student means is students now compare themselves to other students in terms of what they are learning or their academic success, because the word or the expression to gauge can sometimes mean to like compare or whatever, but it's clear that the student knows this word gauge or gauging, has some idea what it means, but has no idea how to use it or how to put it in a sentence. So the student is trying to show the examiner, look, I know this word, isn't it amazing? But actually, what they're really showing the examiner is they have no idea what they're doing and no idea how to use this word. So they're trying to increase their score by using amazing vocabulary, but they are decreasing their score because the accuracy of this vocab and the accuracy of their grammar, and therefore their coherence is being negatively affected. So overall, this will have a negative impact on your writing score. Another example here is the fact that they use this expression, young adolescents. And here they said young students. But in the question, it says children. So again, we can see that this student is trying to paraphrase the word children. And first they started with adolescents, which it works, sure. An adolescent is pretty much a synonym for a child. But then they said students. So, which isn't a direct kind of synonym, because just because you're a child doesn't mean you're a student. Just because you're a student doesn't mean you're a child. In British English as well, student very often refers to university student and not a student at school. So if anything, we could consider this to be young adults, people who are 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. So again, here they're not keeping it simple. They're trying to show the examiner, look at all these amazing words that I know, but actually they're making mistakes, because in this case, with children, adolescents, students, this changes the meaning and the coherence of their essay or of their introduction, because the person reading it is left kind of unsure. Like, are they talking about children, like toddlers? Are they talking about just students and only when children are at school? Or are they talking about university students and young adults? So again, by not keeping it simple, they're actually destroying their chances of getting the score that they want, or the score that they could potentially get. Let's take a look at another example, one more example, and that is this word, anecdotes. So here they said, additionally, cell phones are the easiest way to get access to news and anecdotes. Well, an anecdote is like a story, and we wouldn't really collocate news and anecdotes together. I don't think anyone would really say like, oh, we use our smartphones to get news and anecdotes. It seems, you might say news to get news and learn about current affairs, or to get news and access to information, or news and to learn about local events or something like this. But news and anecdotes, not really. So again, they've been using a word, anecdote, that they know, but it's out of place. It's not really appropriate. And therefore this person would lose some marks, or at least they wouldn't gain any marks in terms of their lexical and their language ability. Now, there are many more mistakes in this introduction, sure, right? Maybe it's a little bit too long. There's other grammar mistakes, there's mistakes with punctuation, there's a lot of mistakes. But what I want to focus on is the fact that they didn't keep it simple. Because the other massive thing that this introduction does not do is it doesn't answer this second part of the question, right? It doesn't say whether this is positive or negative. And the reason, or one of the reasons it doesn't do that, is because they didn't keep it simple. And they spent a really long time describing, the answer to the first question, saying they have more pressure when engaging with other students. As a result, they will try to find relief on their phone. Additionally, cell phones are the easiest way to get access to news and anecdotes, so young students like to spend more time surfing the internet. They've overcomplicated the question. and therefore they haven't been able to also address this second part of the question. So I would like to, at this point, I want to show you guys a couple of examples that I wrote for this question. Now, these examples, they are not the best examples in the world. They're not the only way you can write your introduction. All I want to do is show you how, by keeping things simple, we can boost our score and at least guarantee that we get the score that we deserve. So let's take a look at a couple of my examples. So, all right. So here is one of my examples. Many children spend a lot of time on their smartphones day after day. The reasons for this can be found in social pressure and access to information. I am of the opinion that despite some of the drawbacks, this is mainly a beneficial development. So we can see that I haven't really paraphrased that much. I said many children, so I kept the same word. Spend, I used the same verb, spend, but I just changed this, spend a lot of time instead of saying spend hours. So spend a lot of time on their smartphones. I kept this the same as the question, on their smartphones. And instead of saying every day, I said day after day. So when I paraphrased this sentence, I didn't really change that much. I didn't, I kept it simple. I used this children spend on their smartphones. I kept this the same. I just changed this part that says a lot of time and day after day. Then my next sentence, I started with the reasons for this, a very simple, direct phrase, can be found in social pressure and access to information. So here, I've not given too much away. I haven't gone into detail. I haven't overcomplicated. I've kept it simple. I just said, this is where we can find the reasons for this, the reasons why they spend time on their phones. And this suggests to the reader that later in my essay, I'm going to kind of expand on this point and give more details. And in my next sentence, I am of the opinion that despite some of the drawbacks, this is mainly a beneficial development. This, I've answered the second question. Do you think this is a positive or negative development? And again, I kept it very simple. I am of the opinion that despite some of the drawbacks, this is mainly a beneficial development. And this suggests to the examiner, to the reader, that later in my essay, I will expand on this point and give more detail. Now, the difference between this one and this one, this introduction, my introduction, could be part of an essay that would get 6.5, 7, maybe even 7.5, maybe even higher. What I'm saying is that because it's grammatically correct, because it's clear, because it is simple, it means that the grammar's good, the vocab's good, it means that it's coherent, it means that it's cohesive, and it's allowed me to get a decent score, at least in this part, for task achievement. Now, whereas this answer is, it's not clear what the student's viewpoint is. It doesn't answer the second question. They've used words and grammatical structures that they don't really understand. And because of this, because they tried to overcomplicate it, give too much information, it means that they're not going to get the score that they want, or the score that they maybe deserve. This introduction looks more like a score of 5, 5.5 maybe. Whereas this introduction, very, very simple, but a much higher score. Now let's take a look at two more quick examples that I wrote. So here are another two examples that I wrote. This one is, it says, it is well known that youngsters today spend hours upon hours on their smartphones. This results from increased social pressure and has many negative impacts on their development. Nonetheless, I believe it to be an overall beneficial development. Again, very simple, very direct. I haven't changed that. I haven't paraphrased too much from the question. I've answered both of these questions, and yes, it's simple. Yes, there are not so many uncommon words or expressions, but it's correct, it's clear, it's coherent, it's cohesive, it answers the question. So it's going to get a much higher score than something like this that might include more interesting words, but is wrong. And finally, another example of my introduction. Nowadays, children spend too much time on their smartphones, which can have both positive and negative impacts on them. This phenomenon is because of increased social pressure, but I would argue that it is a positive development. Again, super simple, yet super effective. So all of these questions, example introductions, will get a much better score than this one, even though this one has more information, a wider range of words, and some good vocab, adolescents, anecdotes, you know. These ones, very simple, but much more effective. So keep it simple. It's my biggest piece of advice when it comes to writing in the IELTS. I want to end the video, guys, with two things. One, thank you so much for watching. This is the first video I've ever made on YouTube, and I'm a little bit freaked out by the fact that I'm just here talking to my computer screen and there's no one on the other side. So hopefully someone watches it, someone gets some useful information out of it. I hope that it's been clear and easy for you guys to understand. If you have any questions, please type something in the comments. And I want to leave you with a challenge. So I'd like to give you another question. And that is, where is the question? In many countries today, crime novels and TV crime dramas are becoming more and more popular. Why do you think these books and TV shows are popular? And what is your opinion of crime fiction and TV crime dramas? If you guys want, you can take some time to think about this question and then write your introduction for this question, just your introduction, and post it in the comments below. I will give you some feedback. I'll correct mistakes. I'll give you some advice about the things you've done well and the things that you could improve. But I would like you to follow my piece of advice. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't expand the topic too much. Don't use words and vocabulary and grammatical structures that you're really not sure how to use. Keep it simple, keep it focused, keep it direct, and you're going to get a much better IELTS score. So please, if you want, write your introduction, post it in the comments, and I'll give you guys some advice. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Like I said, my name's Ian. I'm an English teacher and IELTS tutor from the UK. If you guys are interested in one-on-one IELTS lessons or just general English lessons, please get in touch and I can see what I can do for you. So guys, thanks very much.